I'm just going to say this right now. The women, as always, are always the most enjoyable thing about these shows. Every single time I watch Raw, I just always just want to see the women. Because the stuff that we get with the men, I just do not care about. I just do not care about the situations with the men. The Miz started off the show bragging about his WWE Championship win. Bobby Lashley comes out and he starts saying that, well, MVP starts saying that when the Miz made an agreement with him that Bobby Lashley would decimate Drew, Miz would cash in his briefcase, and if he did that, Bobby Lashley should be the first guy in line to challenge for the championship. So I guess that explains why Bobby Lashley came out and why he beat up Drew McIntyre. Also, there was no Drew McIntyre on this show. So that confused me. I was wondering, isn't Drew supposed to be getting his rematch for the championship or something? But he didn't. Nor that it looks like it. But anyway, The Miz backs out. He doesn't want to give Lashley the title match. But Lashley gives him an ultimatum. He gives him an hour to make his decision. Then Riddle faces off against John Morrison. Who gives a shit about that match, right? No one wants to see that idiot Matt Riddle in the ring. Matt Riddle wins. Also, we're going to be getting the debut of Rhea Ripley. Finally! And something else that is finally going to make Raw enjoyable. Rhea freaking Ripley. I can't wait for the matches that we could get. Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte. Rhea Ripley versus Asuka. Rhea Ripley versus Mandy Rose. Rhea Ripley versus Dana Brooke. Rhea Ripley versus Naomi. Rhea Ripley, I guess Shayna, because she had some decent matches with her. I would actually love to see Rhea Ripley do a goddamn riptide on Nia Jax. Monday Night Raw and even Rhea Ripley versus Reckoning. Monday Night Raw has so many great talented women on Raw that Rhea could literally make any of those women look good. But I definitely see Rhea Ripley being a big major part in the division. I really want to see her become a really big major part of the division, becoming a big top star. I wouldn't mind seeing her squash, Dana and Nikki Cross a couple of times. I wouldn't mind seeing her squash a couple of people before moving her on to the big time. And there barely really isn't any other than Charlotte and Asuka. But yeah, I think Rhea Ripley is a great addition to Monday Night Raw. Sucks she's not going to be on SmackDown because SmackDown easily has the better women's division. But, at least Rhea being there on Raw actually does make Raw seem to be a bit more watchable. So I think Rhea will make a great addition to the Raw brand. We get some of this Bad Bunny crap. I don't give a crap about Bad Bunny. I want to mention this real quick. This is a bit off topic here. Speaking of Bad Bunny, real quickly here. I heard Arn Anderson, I believe he's a part of AEW. He said something along the lines of, that nobody knows who Bad Bunny is and WWE should not be using celebrities to gain views or anything like that. I don't really know specifically what he said, but he took shots at WWE for using Bad Bunny for ratings and viewership or something. But yet AEW is using Shaq O'Neal and Snoop Dogg. I don't know. If you're going to take shot at a company for using celebrities for views and ratings, I think you guys need to look yourselves in the mirror. AEW. You look at yourselves in the mirror for using Snoop Dogg and Shaq O'Neal. How do I know? Because I see it all over the... How do I know? I don't watch AEW because I see it on my goddamn social media. That's how I know. If you guys are wondering, how do I know? See it all over the place. I see it all over my social media. Anyway, moving on. We get the New Day facing off against Retribution's Mason T-Bar, or T-Bag, as what some people like to call him. And New Day win. New Day win. They beat two of the strongest men in the group. Ali just goes off the handle. He just completely goes off. He starts screaming and yelling. He's getting frustrated. He grabs a microphone. He starts, getting angry. He's pushing. He's pushing T-Bar. He's shoving Shane Thorne. He's shoving Mace. Mia Yim's back. Mia Yim's back. Great to see her back. He's just going off the handle. He's just going completely insane. He's just getting so fed up with them. He's saying that he saved them. He's saying along the lines of that he made that I made you guys. I made you guys. Sounds like dissension among the ranks in Retribution, if you ask me. And to be perfectly clear, I would probably rather that they just do that. Retribution just aren't really doing much of anything. They're not really a threat. You may as well just revert them back to their old characters when this whole thing's over with. Just hurry it up. Just hurry it up and end this Retribution stuff. I would like to see Dijakovic be Dijakovic. I like to see Shane Thorne be Shane Thorne. And I like to see Dio Madden be Dio Madden. And I like to see Mia Yim be Mia Yim. Thank you very much. Ali can be a heel, but in a different way. So then we come to Miz's ultimatum. It hits the deadline, and The Miz doesn't give Bobby Lashley his match. He backs out. He says he wants to think about it. He wants to give it more time. Clearly he's being a coward. Clearly he's being a chicken shit heel. That's the kind of champion we're dealing with. A chicken shit heel who doesn't want to take on any challenges. Hey, at least Drew McIntyre, at least he went face to face with the toughest of them all. He versed Brock Lesnar, Big Show, Lashley. He versed Randy Orton. At least he took on all comers. At least Drew McIntyre took on all comers. That's the kind of champion I want to see. A champion that will take on all comers. He took on Keith Lee. He took on all comers. Every single one of them. AJ Styles. All comers. But yet now we're going to be dealing with a chicken shit heel that is too afraid to defend his title against literally anybody. The Miz would back out of a WWE Championship match against Hornswoggle. Seriously, he would back out of a WWE title match against Hornswoggle. Miz is literally scared of anybody. Braun comes out. He demands a WWE title match. But he doesn't get it. Shane McMahon comes up with an idea. I guess Shane McMahon's a face now. I guess Shane's a face now. I guess we're all supposed to forget that he was a heel and now we're all supposed to cheer the guy. Okay. Whatever. But Shane comes up with an idea. He says Bobby Lashley will get his title match against The Miz next week. But he makes a ruling. He says if Braun Strowman can defeat Bobby Lashley, Braun Strowman will be added to the title match, making it a triple threat. Okay. Not that it matters. And then we get the Lucha House Party taking on the bum business, or the lame business as I call them, Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander. The Hurt Business win. This was a tornado tag. It was actually pretty fun. It was not a bad match when I was watching it, but I just don't care. I just literally do not care about any of those matches. Then we had Damian Priest. He versed Angel Garza. He beat Garza. Who cares? I mean, at least seeing Damian Priest is good. At least Damian Priest is being built up. You know, at least he's not losing. And now they've changed his finisher to hit the lights. Now, I know it was previously called the Reckoning. I know it was previously called the Reckoning, and I think I know why they changed it. And it's the most obvious one, really. And it's the most obvious one. Reckoning from Retribution. She's clearly a thing. Her name is Reckoning. You got a finishing move called the Reckoning. Reckoning, the Reckoning. You don't want to have two things with the same name. So, they probably thought it was just best to just change Priest's finishing move to hit the lights. It's not a bad name. It's not a bad name. It's not that I hate it. I just think, well, that just makes total sense on why they changed it. To me, I just think it makes total sense why they changed it. Randy Orton had his segment next about Alexa Bliss. And then all of a sudden he started vomiting this black goo out of his mouth. Yeah, I'm supposed to believe that randomly happened. Yeah, I'm supposed to believe Randy Orton just started vomiting black stuff out of his mouth for no reason. I know that was you, Alexa Bliss. You can't fool me. I know you did that. You can't fool me into thinking that wasn't Alexa Bliss's doing. She wanted to completely mind screw with Randy Orton. That is clearly all Alexa Bliss. You cannot convince me whatsoever that was not Alexa Bliss. I'd like to see someone try and find some proof that was not Alexa Bliss that made Randy Orton cough out black goo. That was all Alexa. All of it. Every single bit of it. And next we had Charlotte Flair and Asuka taking on Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. We finally had some women's action. Finally. And this was actually a pretty good match. I know. Me saying Nia and Shayna's match was good. I know. Rare. But of course they had Charlotte Flair and Asuka in there. Those two literally carried them. I just thought it was a great match. I just thought it was a great match, and you know, that's why I say the women are literally the best thing on the shows, because the women, to me, I just enjoy the women more. Nia and Shayna get the win. I was about to say Nia and Shia. That's what I was literally about to say. Nia and Shia. Nia and Shayna get the win. They get the win. And it's because Charlotte accidentally booted Asuka in the face. And Nia pinned Asuka. Great. So Nia Jax has now pinned both SmackDown Women's Champion Sasha Banks and Raw Women's Champion Nia Jax. And Raw Women's Champion Nia Jax. Jesus, the horror of me thinking of that. And Raw Women's Champion Asuka in the span of 2 days. She's pinned both of the top level champions in a span of 2 days. Awesome. But, you know what? There was a decent match. So, women, fair enough. Then we had Sheamus versus Jeff Hardy. Sheamus would beat Jeff Hardy. I personally don't really care, because you completely screw Sheamus out of his WWE Championship opportunity. Because there was no Drew McIntyre on this show. And then what came up next was, in my opinion, the best segment of the night. You guys are probably surprised to hear me say this. Well, it involves women, so what would you expect? But this next segment that came up after Sheamus' match was Charlotte and Ric Flair. They had a segment together, and Charlotte Flair, man, That was a great promo. Absolutely incredible. This is why I say Charlotte is better as a babyface. Try and have Charlotte do the segment that she did right now and try and make her do it as a heel. And try and make it sound believable. Charlotte Flair as a heel is absolutely nauseating. I just do not understand. How anybody can like Charlotte as a heel. I literally just do not understand. Whenever I hear someone say Charlotte's better as a heel, I'm just always like, why? Why do you prefer her as a heel? I prefer Charlotte Flair as a lovable babyface. This promo proved it. This promo right here proved it. She is so much better as a babyface. She's way more natural as a babyface. Her promos are more natural. Her emotion is more natural. As a heel, she's so robotic. She's so loud. It's like she's trying to be a heel. To me, when I see Charlotte as a heel, it's like she's trying her hardest to be a heel, but she can't. What am I even talking about? If you guys are wondering. Well, Charlotte, she went off on Ric Flair. She hit her breaking point with Ric Flair. She hit her breaking point with him. She was telling him to go home. She was sick of him, getting involved in her business. She didn't like him dancing with Lacey Evans when she announced her pregnancy. She thinks Ric Flair is tarnishing the Flair name. Ric Flair is, basically saying that the kid's not mine. He was saying that the kid's not the baby that Lacey has is not his. He was saying along the lines of that he saw potential in Lacey Evans. Really? Really, Flair? Really, Rick? You saw potential in Lacey Evans? When I look at Lacey Evans, I don't see the word potential. I don't see the word potential. When I look at Lacey Evans, I think of bum. Lacey Evans sucks. And you see potential in her. But I digress. He wanted to motivate her, just like how he motivated Charlotte. But Charlotte didn't appreciate this because it was on her time. During her matches. During her time to prove to the world that she's more than just Ric Flair's daughter. And that's the key part here. She said, I want to prove I am more than just Ric Flair's daughter. She told Ric Flair that she wants to be Charlotte Flair. Now, if you guys are wondering what the hell that even means, that means, well, at least in my perspective, from where I'm getting it, it's telling me that Charlotte wants to be Charlotte herself. She doesn't want to be Ric Flair's daughter. She doesn't want to be in the shadow of Ric Flair. When you're telling someone that you want to be who you want to be, that's basically you saying, I want to be myself. Charlotte was telling Ric Flair, I want to be Charlotte Flair, aka myself. I want to be me. That is what Charlotte was saying. I want to be me. Now, I know some people are not going to buy into it. They just think, they're just going to have her say it, and then she's going to go back to being Ric Flair, being like Ric Flair the next week on Raw. Yeah, I can definitely see some people thinking that, but whenever I hear WWE have these issues where they have someone say something in their promos, and then they don't capitalize on it, like what they did with Shayna Baszler. When Shayna, last year, right before SummerSlam, when Sasha Banks was the Raw Women's Champion, Shayna Baszler walked up, came out, and she said she did not care who was going to be the Raw Women's Champion out of Sasha Banks and Asuka. She said, I don't care who's the Raw Women's Champion. I'm coming for that title next, regardless who wins. And what did they do? They had Shayna Baszler pair up with Nia Jax. They didn't have Shayna Baszler go after the Raw Women's Championship next. You had her say that, but she literally didn't. Sometimes you need to stay consistent with these promos. You know what I mean? They've done this before with Charlotte as well. Same thing. Last year. They did the same thing for her last year. They had Charlotte Flair come out. I think it was before... I believe the segment was... If I remember correctly what the segment was... I think the segment was Charlotte, Sasha, Bayley, Asuka, and I think the Iconics. And then Charlotte came out and she told Sasha Banks and Sasha Banks and Bayley that she doesn't need to be a champion to be relevant. I think that's what the segment was. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. But I remember Charlotte specifically saying that. And yeah, a lot of people didn't buy it because she's been champion for so long. You can't have people say these things, but you do nothing with it. To me, having Charlotte Flair come out and say that she wants to be Charlotte Flair, aka herself, to me it makes me happy. Because this has been one of the main problems with Charlotte Flair. This has been one of the key problems with Charlotte Flair since the moment she arrived in WWE. This has been her main problem. This has been the biggest problem for WWE with Charlotte Flair the moment she was on television. Saying she's nothing more than just Ric Flair's daughter. Ric Flair music, Ric Flair robes, wrestling like Ric Flair. The strutting, the wooing, the chopping, everything. She literally does everything as Ric Flair. That has been the main problem with Charlotte for a very long time. She's nothing more than a carbon copy of Ric Flair. And having her say this in her promo makes me feel like maybe WWE is finally lightening up, finally realizing the problem. This has been a problem with Charlotte for years. This is like literally one of the best ways to finally kill the problem. Make Charlotte be herself. Give her new music. Give her new attire. Make her wrestle a bit different. Make her wrestle differently. New music, new attire, no more robes, no more Ric Flair-like music, nothing. Everything about Ric Flair should be gone from her. Take the Flair out of her last name and just take the Flair out of her name and just call her Charlotte. Just call her Charlotte. Just take the Flair out and just call her Charlotte and make her be herself. That has been the main problem with Charlotte for years. Everybody knows that's been the main problem for her. And to me, this segment needs to capitalize. They need to capitalize on this segment. You can't have Charlotte say, I want to be Charlotte Flair, but you continue to book her the same way. So to me, this is an opportunity for WWE to finally fix the problem with Charlotte. To me, this is a big step to maybe them finally fixing the problem. But yes, I do see the point of view and why people think, oh, this is just bullcrap. I can see why people would think this is just bullcrap, but I'm optimistic. I'm thinking this could be a new step in direction for Charlotte. Giving her character development. Finally wanting to break out of that Ric Flair shell. That Ric Flair bubble that she's been trapped in for so many years. She finally wants to be herself. She finally wants to develop herself. To me, that should have always been how they should have handled Charlotte. Charlotte being Charlotte. Not Charlotte being a carbon copy of Ric Flair. I'm optimistic. So let's give this a chance before we jump to conclusions. But I can see other people's point of view if they don't buy it. I can definitely see your point of view if you don't buy it. But to me, hearing Charlotte say that she wants to be Charlotte just makes me say, okay, this could be a good thing. Next we had Naomi and Lana face off against Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke. This was a 2-minute match, a 2-minute squash, I should really say, because this is basically what it was. It was a squash. Mandy Rose was squashed. She got tagged in and they literally squashed her in about 2 minutes, and that made me sad. That made me really sad for Mandy. Feel real bad for poor Mandy getting squashed. Yeah, Vince really is a big fan of Mandy Rose. Yeah. I've been saying it for years that Vince McMahon isn't a fan of Mandy Rose. And I still stick by it. I still stick by that Vince McMahon doesn't like Mandy Rose. Do you want to know why? Because Vince McMahon has had a bad habit on changing his mind for years. If you know Vince McMahon, if you know him, you would understand. It's been, he has a habit on saying that he's a fan of somebody, but then he'll change his mind on them. He's done it so many times. Humberto Carrillo, Andrade, Aleister Black. He's done it with so many wrestlers. Murphy. He's done it with so many wrestlers. He's a big fan of them. And then ultimately, he changes his mind. People said he was a big fan of Zelina Vega. Look what happened to her. She's now unemployed. All because of the Twitch thing. Whenever someone tells me that Vince McMahon is a fan of someone, Peyton Royce. Vince broke up the Iconics because he wanted to push Peyton Royce as a single star. Yeah, look how well that turned out for Peyton. So whenever I hear people tell me that Vince McMahon likes a certain wrestler, I just laugh it off. I'm like, yeah, right. Yeah, I'm sure he's a big fan of Mandy Rose. I've been saying for years he's never been a fan of Mandy Rose. Considering how she's booked all the time, I've been saying it for years. Vince McMahon doesn't like Mandy Rose. Even if he did like Mandy Rose, he sure as hell doesn't like her anymore. Because Vince McMahon always changes his mind. Then we had AJ Styles face off against Rick O'Shea. Or should I say Jobber Shea, because that's basically what Rick O'Shea is. He's basically a jobber. He's basically the job guy for all the stars. He's a good wrestler, so hey, I guess him being the job guy isn't, too terrible after all. Because he's a good wrestler. Anyway, but AJ Styles beat him. Because as I said, Ricochet is the job guy. So, yeah, Styles beats him. And then Omos comes into the ring and he does a choke slam. A double-handed choke slam on Rick O'Shea. And then our main event was Braun Strowman versus Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley won that with a vicious spear on Braun. And then The Miz comes running in the ring like a bloody dickhead. Bloody Bobby Lashley was looking directly in his direction. He comes running in with the WWE Championship, about to swing it. Lashley obviously ducks, and he power slams him. Good job, Miz. Good job. What a champion. Good job, Miz. Good on ya. That was a great idea. Smart strategy from the WWE Champion. Just run at Bobby Lashley, why don't you? Great idea. But Bobby Lashley beats the hell out of him. Spinebuster, spears him, grabs the WWE title, hoists it up, and celebrates as the show goes off the air. Yep, so that's pretty much your Monday Night Raw, guys. Another terrible episode. But Charlotte Flair, in my opinion, was the star of the night. In my opinion. So you guys let me know your thoughts and opinions down below about Monday Night Raw. Hit that thumbs up. Comment your thoughts and opinions down below. And I will see you all next time.